Hey guys, it's Ethan from Zimmer Labs, and this is a set of Ahsoka Tano Solos Hold hilts that I just finished up for Ben. These are almost masterpiece builds, kind of mini masterpiece builds. I did do a little bit of an extra tier for Ben to try to squeeze out as much as I possibly could within the budget that he gave me. Ben, I hope you like them. We used, like I said, Solos Hold hilts for these with a polish job, and they're really nice hilts to begin with. Pretty much anything you get from Solos Hold is really well built, well designed, and nicely machined, and these are no exception. Full aluminum, two-piece construction, the outside of the hilt, and then the inner tube here is a second piece, powder coated as you can see, and then you have pommel which screws off to access the chassis. We opted for the Goth 3 Designs master chassis on these guys. As you can see, we've got a little power switch and recharge port right there. Slide it up and your Proffieboard is hanging out right here. USB and SD card access. Fully removable chassis. Diffused Neopixel blade connectors on the front ends. And then the buttons are mounted right up here on either side of the blade connector housing. And these guys just slide right in. You can do a set screw on both hilts to lock the chassis in place, but I haven't actually found a need for that, because when you screw the pommel in, the chassis is no longer able to move because the pommel holds the back end in place and the front end is held in place by the shape of the hilt. So set screws, while doable, are not necessarily necessary. Before we jump into the actual electronics on these guys, the background is pretty cool with these. It's essentially what you've got here is it's a Saber set for one warrior to carry, one Jedi Knight to carry. One is a little bit longer, one is a little bit shorter, and the idea for this originated in the Japanese culture with samurais and other similar soldiers who would have a longer Daito or a katana, something like that, and then a shorter Shoto blade. For obvious reasons. If you're on the battlefield and you're having a sword fight, you want a full-length blade, but if you're cutting your lunch in half after the battle's over, you don't want to use your giant blade for that. You want to use a little one for that. So two different sizes for two different purposes. But both very, very nice hilts. Let's jump into the chassis. Very simple here. Just as you can see, unscrew and slide out. It's an all black plastic chassis with Neopixel blade connector on the front end and some nice brass coverings on the back end, covering up the Proffieboard here, and then covering up the wiring on the other side. On the back end you have your main power switch, USB, SD card access, and recharge port right here. All of which are going to be just, sticking right out of the end, so it's really easy to access. You just remove the pommel and boom, there you go. You guys may notice that the pommel is not vented for sound, and that's something that initially caught my eye and I thought I might have to drill these out, but the design is quite good in that the sound escapes out of the front and they are nice and loud. So even though they're not vented, still have really good sound. Now on the larger of the two, the shien, same setup really here, just a larger chassis. Neopixel blade connector up front with custom diffusing screen switches mounted to either side of that. 18650 battery hanging out right here, and then the speaker is right here. For these guys, the largest I was able to squeeze in is a 22 millimeter Veco premium speaker in these guys. They both have that. I did that in both chassis. And then Proffieboard, USB and SD card access right there, and power switch and recharge port is right here. And then of course, really kick-ass crystal chamber hanging out right on the back. And the crystal chamber here is done in gold and rhodium. You can do it in really a lot of different ways, but basically one of two ways. Doing these pieces in gold with this in middle section in rhodium, or this middle section in gold with these pieces in rhodium, to get the kind of the contrast going and make it pop. But to conserve funds, it was less expensive to get the larger pieces done in the gold-plated brass with these pieces done in rhodium, because the rhodium is a bit more expensive. For the crystal, it's a nice big quartz crystal. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a nice sharp clean point that hangs out right there in the middle. Really nicely illuminated crystal. And that's exactly what you see when you take the pommel off the larger saber. The crystal's hanging out right there for immediate display when you remove the pommel. Alright, now let's put the blades in right quick and run through the blade presets so Ben can see how we programmed them. All smooth swing sound fonts on both of these guys. And Ahsoka's blades are green when she's got these sabers. So that's what I tried to do, was predominantly different kinds of green blades, and then of course throw a few more in there just because why not. Set screw is hanging out right there, just a small black set screw. So this is the initial blade, just a nice bright green flash ignition blade. Next up, this is a green-white audio flicker blade. This is a green and cool audio flicker blade. And this is just a cool blade. No green to this one. This is a pale green blade. This is more reminiscent of the color the old Hasbro FX Sabers used to have with the traditional string LEDs. Like if you guys ever saw the Kit Fisto lightsaber in person, this is that color. It's a little, I don't know, it's a little bit more washed out, but a little bit more true to the movie color. This is the electricity blade. That's the turbine blade. Goes white to green. This is a green and white fire blade. Then I did a purple. This is a really, really cold white blade. This is a yellow-white audio flicker blade with a lot of blue in the effects for contrast. Red, a nice, heavy, localized lockup effect. Standard red fire blade. And back to green. And the larger shien hilt is set up the same way as far as the blade array goes. All things the same, except of course the blade is quite a bit longer on this guy. Love the dual, so you can see the lockup effect in person. That looks really good. So that is about it for these guys. Ben, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any tweaks, modifications, adjustments, additions, subtractions you want me to do. But otherwise, they are good to go. I can get these packed up and shipped out whenever you are good with them. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Next video coming up is going to be a Titan class Graflex that I just finished up for Luke. Then a little bit of upgrading on a old classic, the battle damaged Darth Maul that I did about 2 years back. And then after that, hopefully the Metal Master with the spinning plasma gate will be coming up next after that. Alright guys, thank you as always for watching.